and your LCD, I stand there to say thank you for the service to the people, for the service to humanity. Thank you for your support in the delivery of democracy to our people. All of you have done so well. I'm extremely grateful. And I know that history, as a government, I can assure all of you that nobody will be left behind in the right of Jesus.
Today inaugurates the newly elected council chairman and vice chairman of the 16 local government councils and 22 local council development areas. A statement by the special advisor the special advisor on media to the governor, Yinka Oyebode, says the event will take place at Osuntokun Pavilion, Government House grounds at Duikiti by 11 in the morning. The statement directed all chairmen and vice chairmen as well to be seated by 10:30. The Ekiti State Commissioner for Information, Chief Taiwo Olatubosun, Governor Biodun Oyebanji, as a wake-up call to workers in the public service to improve service delivery to enhance effective implementation of the 6-point agenda of his administration. Addressing staff of the Ministry of Information at a special to mark the commencement of work in the new year, Chief Olatubosun urged workers to redouble their efforts in the discharge of their duties in the new year. Olatubosun stressed the commitment of Governor Oyebanji towards the development of the state and the welfare of the people. The government spokesman underscored the role of government information officers and allied staff to the success of administration, saying that the ministry has the stern responsibility of managing and disseminating government information as well as obtaining feedback that would help shape policies. The commissioner the responsibility of getting informed and activities to further promote the governance agenda of good and inclusive governance. In his remarks, the permanent secretary of the ministry, Mr. Olusegun Alabi, pledged the of workers on the ministry to efforts of Governor Oyebanji towards the development of the state. The Ondo State Governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, has suspended caretaker chairman of the 18 local government areas and 33 local council development areas. The suspension of the caretaker chairman was contained in a letter from the Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, and Akure High Court, presided over by Justice Yemi Fasomi, had granted an interim injunction filed by the People's Democratic Party, which sought to restrain late Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu from inaugurating any person or persons not democratically elected as members of caretaker committees to administer the affairs of the council, pending the determination of the interlocutory injunction in this suit. Justice Fasomi barred the caretaker chairman from operating after the assumed office on the excuse that he had been sworn in before the order was granted. Nurses at the Federal Medical Center, Idiaba, Abeokuta, Ogun State, have protested against an alleged exclusion from the 2023 promotion carried out in the institution. The nurses, under the aegis of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, expressed displeasure over alleged harsh working conditions in the health institution. The aggrieved workers sang and carried placards around the premises peacefully. The chairman of the association in the hospital, Mr. Olufunmilola Adekunle, in an interview said the protest was to demand the papers of the promotional examination, which the hospital claimed the nurses failed. He lamented that many of the nurses are exhausted and overworked due to acute manpower shortage in the hospital. The federal government has commenced the immediate deployment of food and non-food relief materials to communities and survivors of the Christmas Eve attacks by unknown gunmen in Plateau State. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, gave the information while speaking with journalists in Jos, Plateau State. The communities for an on-the-spot assessment of the affected areas, which service chiefs was on ground to coordinate visited churches and some IDPs camps, where she addressed worshippers and victims who were taking refuge for protection after the attacks. She assured them of President Bola Tinubu's commitment to bringing lasting solutions for people in the state. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has faulted General Taori Lagbaja's statement on his disapproval for citizens to bear arms. Mr. Attacks by unknown gunmen on Plateau State during the Yuletide. He noted that on the needs of a gun license and called for caution regarding that the Constitution. Several lawmakers and governors have continued to appeal to the federal government to allow its people to protect themselves from incursions by bandits and terror groups. Meanwhile, Mr. Femi Falana has vowed to ensure that the soldier who was arrested by the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu over a road traffic offense is prosecuted. Falana, who made the promise while appearing on the national television, noted that men of the armed forces in the country often see themselves as above the law. Report says that Governor Sanwo-Olu arrested some men on motorbikes flying one way along Lagos-Badagry Expressway. The governor was on his way to the inauguration of the Femi Gbajabiamila Conference Center at Ojo campus of the Lagos State University when the incident occurred. The federal government has approved an extension of the deadline for this year's Hajj registration by the intending pilgrims. The registration would have closed on December 31 last year, but the government added another month to it. The Assistant Director of Public Affairs at the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Mrs. Fatima, in a statement said the extension was in response to the heartfelt state pilgrims, welfare boards, agencies, commissions, governors and other stakeholders on the closure of the 2024 Hajj registration. On Florentine, more than 20 people have died and scores injured in a twin blast near the tomb of former Iran's top military officer, General Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani served in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps from 1998 until his assassination. Was the commander of the Quds force saddled with the responsibility for extraterritorial and clandestine military operations. The blast occurred when hundreds of people gathered to mark the